G'day! We're here today to talk about Coopers Brewery, based in Australia. A bit of an institution. It's gathering a lot of momentum in Australia. It's in its 6th generation Cooper ownership right now, which is pretty wild. There's not many breweries that are out there really that have been, handed down through still a family-owned brewery really. So we'll get all into the details about Coopers, but let's let me say hi from Matthew first. I think that'd be good.
Hello.
And then maybe we'll say hi to Richard.
Hi there.
And I will ask you, Richard, to maybe pick us up on a bit of a hot topic.
Yeah, just quickly. Barbara, have you always had that headset?
Headset?
Yeah.
No, I'm using the work one.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because it does look like you're in a call centre right now.
And 5 minutes ago, I switched because I was getting a hot ear on one side, so it's also now on this side of my head. That might be what.
Oh, okay. Is that?
Well, you can have it on different sides. You can swap your ears.
I mean, at a risk of an increasingly hot left ear, check this out.
Oh,
he's done that
I'm
before.
ready to go.
It's just out of curiosity, is the hot ear a new problem since you've been getting older, or is that just in general?
This headset creates a hot ear. For me, really, this headset only needs to be on for about 5 minutes at a time.
Oh, okay.
I have got some headphones somewhere. I could have just used those, but we wouldn't have had this great talking point, would we? I suppose.
Well, that's fine. We can save the rest of it for our other podcast about headsets.
and tech review.
Tech review.
2.0.
But no, to me. And I thought we should possibly talk about, in the world where many, many, many pubs are closing at a rapid ascent, not ascent, that's the wrong word. What's the word I'm looking for?
Decline?
Rapid, yeah. There's just loads of pubs are closing down, and there's not many new ones opening up unless it's kind of a Weatherspoons or some other bigger chain that the local pub is kind of going. But you either love him or you either hate him, sort of thing. It is Jeremy Clarkson has opened up his pub up in Oxfordshire called the Farmer's Dog.
Is that the actual name?
Yeah, that's the actual name, the Farmer's Dog.
Oh.
And, of course, he's increased into the world of farming. I don't know if you guys have watched his show, Clarkson's Farm. It's as much...
Everyone tells me how good it is.
You know what? Annoyingly, it is very good. I didn't want to enjoy it, but then I've watched all of the seasons.
I definitely breezed through the first series. I found the second series a bit harder to get into. I don't know why. I knew all the characters. I guess it was just like, I'm not really that into this now. So I haven't finished the second season.
I did go through... I don't know when it happened for me. I did have a bit of a Damascene conversion on Jeremy Clarkson. I remember being, a teenager and watching Top Gear and thinking it was brilliant and he was really funny and it was the best TV show in the world. And then at some point I just started going, this bloke is actually something I'm not going to say out loud at the moment. And so that's what I think people are telling me to watch the programme, and I go, but he's a complete helmet. And they said, even people that find him to be a helmet find the programme to be quite good and quite informative about farming and that sort of thing. But I think the stuff that's come out and may be pertinent to what you're about to tell us is, blows my mind. People queuing to get in his farm shop for hours.
Yeah.
And that's happening with the pub, I think.
Yeah, so I was watching it. It's once again, he's opened at this pub, and of course, every Tom, Dick and Harry who has a car has descended.
Or Rafe, Hugo and
all of those guys. They're all in gilets and chinos. And they've all descended on the Farmer's Dog. And I was watching a thing before came on with you guys, and it was 2.5 hours waiting time to get into the actual pub. People were queuing an hour before the pub actually opened to get a seat.
What?
Sort of thing.
Oh,
and then they've also
so odd, aren't they?
And then they've also they've got the actual pub. Then they've got like a outside seating area as well that apparently you can buy his Hawkstone beer from, and there's another farmer's shop there, and there's like diddly squat, and then there's all some other bits. So it's a whole day out, I suppose. It's not just the pub, but 2.5 hours to get into a pub feels long. And
isn't the farm? I'm gonna have to check. Carry on, and I'm gonna come back when I've checked what I'm wondering.
Yes, it's 2.5 hours, and I've only tried Hawkstone, his lager, once, and I've not tried the other stuff.
I thought it was alright. I don't know. I thought it was alright.
Yeah, it was fine. I wasn't blown away.
I think this is the thing with Jeremy Clarkson. He does actually get people who know what they're doing to do the doing. He's just the one the TV cameras are following around. He's the one that he's like managing all this stuff. Because what is he now? He's kind of turned his farm around into being actually profitable.
Yeah.
Or at least it's just there. The TV show is basically paying for the upkeep of his farm. He's got a very thriving, big thriving business with the farm shop. And then he got the lager, the brewery up and running.
Yeah.
Now he's got a pub into it. I mean, he's doing all right. I mean, obviously he comes from TV money and, that world. But he's obviously applying it in this kind of new age of chapter of his life or whatever.
And I think that's what I do quite respect it, that he is... He's not, and he is a massive advocate for all being homegrown, his own source, getting local people in to do it, and I think that's absolutely because he won him and Caleb, the bloke who does it with him, won Farmer of the Year award, and farmers absolutely love him because, as we said earlier, they've put it being from Britain, it being all coming in and promoting it all, and farmers
and I
think
think
he's
the biggest shock that I had was obviously I knew farming is hard, it's not an easy deal at all, but just how much these guys, the farmers in the UK, are so close to are they going to make a loss or are they going to make a profit? It's such thin margins, that was quite scary actually, that this is and this isn't they can go and pack up shop and go and move on to another job, that's their life, and that's so scary actually, and don't get me wrong, Jeremy Clarkson is not a good farmer. There are people out there who are much better at it and obviously are better at making money from farming, but he made decisions like getting sheep in, which every single farmer would don't bother with sheep, they're so much worth it, but he got it because he wanted them, so it's just he makes silly decisions and stuff, and that was for the TV show.
There's something about the Lamborghini tractor, I think, as well.
Actually,
Lamborghini tractor.
Weirdly, I think that's actually, as I understand, probably did not watch the show, but actually Lamborghini, that's how Lamborghini started, was tractors.
Yeah, tractors,
so it's not as silly as that sort of initially sounds, I think.
No, but he did just get the Lamborghini tractor because it's a Lamborghini tractor, and it's got this but it's so heavy, it's so much, it's not the right thing for a British farm, basically, or whatever.
Weird segue. I think I've actually seen one of the original Lamborghini tractors once.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, Rich, go on.
No, I don't think I'm going to go there out of my way to go to the farmer's dog, and I'll be interested to see if his Hawkstone beer does become bigger, other than just ordering it online, and because I'm not too sure where you can buy it from in supermarkets.
I've seen it.
I got it at a supermarket.
You got it at a supermarket, well then.
Yeah. They'll, and again, the good thing about supermarkets in the UK is they're not they don't just keep the same beers. You can probably the big popular ones that get sold, they'll keep going, but they will churn out these smaller ones.
Plus, if you don't like it,
at some point,
if you don't like it, you're just some idiot in a Volkswagen.
I do own 2 Volkswagens, so this
best car in the world. Would anyone else like to do a bad impression of Jeremy Clarkson?
No, mate. Impressions are all on you.
Mate. Oh yeah, that's good news.
It's you bring impressions and Rich brings foreign languages.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
I had to think of the word. I had to think of the wording.
Solid pause. Solid pause.
Levity. That's what I'm the comedic levity.
I was going to say attendance.
No, that's I was bench filler. So yeah.
Don't listen to him, Rich. I think it's raw sexual magnetism.
That's 100% in this very visual medium we do podcast.
Very difficult to concentrate.
Yeah.
Coopers, is it?
Shall we get on to Coopers?
Go on then.
So Coopers and Sons. So I'll read you the blurb from their website because I think it's quite a good grounding.
Yeah, for me, you need to treat me as an amateur. On this one. As
so we're travelling down under. We're travelling to Australia. Where Simo's defected to.
Struth.
It's truth, and so they said that they are born to brew, which is a bold statement. But after dedicating over 150 years to the art of brewing, we believe it's true. So that's some pretty bold claims from the start.
Yeah, they've managed to last 150 years, so fair play.
That's it.
I'm gonna
So
make the
Coopers
little-
is a brewing family. It is in the blood. For 6 generations, they've been custodians of a proud legacy that began in 1862 when Thomas Cooper brewed his first batch of ale. Go on, Babs.
I was going to just make the really snotty, pedantic comment that actually, if they're Coopers, then technically they were born to make barrels.
They very well could have been. Maybe that's where Thomas Cooper started. Maybe he was a barrel maker and then got into the world of brewing.
I suppose if you...
off something.
Integration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Synergy. Is that the right word? Is synergy the right word?
It's a word,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Good solid pause from us again there.
Good solid pause. So
but-
yeah,
so-
I find quite honest. I hadn't really come across Coopers before. It was the first time meeting Coopers in the Majestic Wines that I was in when I was looking.
was
at
he?
it.
That's what I was going to check. That was my...
Was he actually there?
He was right there. One of the Coopers, right there.
Handing it out.
that was the thing I was going to check, because I hate to take it to like a completely boring practical place, but I like to know, you know, where we got them, because I couldn't get this one in time, unfortunately. And price was an interesting point I wanted to check. I can't remember. Sorry, because I knew you got it at Majestic. I got hold of my Majestic, and they are not one who stock these guys at the moment. So I wasn't able to find out roughly how much we were talking. I didn't, for some reason, the look of them makes me think like we're talking a premium sort of beer.
They obviously being Majestic, they were sold in bulk, so it was a 24 pack. I couldn't get anything smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Of bottles. I think it was probably about 18, 19 quid. So
That's not too
actually,
bad then, is it? Like for how many again? 24.
Yeah, 24
no,
bottles.
that's
And
not-
it was good beer. If I'm honest, like I had the original pale, and it didn't taste like a pale ale that we know it. It was maltier. It had more kind of a gumph to it, I suppose. It was. It was a fuller taste, but then it's kind of what I expect from like an Australian, more traditional style Australian beer. When we've had like, when we what was it? Victoria bitters, right?
yeah.
It was like a really palatable version of a Victoria bitter, but it wasn't a bitter, right? So it was like it had a bit more to it than it wasn't like a weak pale ale, basically.
Did you feel like you were growing a mullet while you were drinking it?
Well, I think Victoria Bitters definitely is the leaning into the mullet thing.
Yeah.
I think this is a slightly more sophisticated kind of market
Okay.
and clientele. They actually have a whole vintage ale series where you can apparently they do them every year, and you can actually store them in cellars for up to 8 years.
Oh, really?
That sounds
This is less mustache, more full beard, isn't it?
This is full beard situation.
Well, I don't know. I was looking at some of the pictures, and they all looked very clean cut, very not the kind of got these. They don't look like beer drinkers sort of thing.
This whole, I mean, when you're having a beer, the proof is in the pudding sort of thing. However, having gone on the website, there is an interesting juxtaposition happening. I think. I think that's a word as well. We are blending old and new here, aren't we? By those things.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Glad you agree.
I was going to say because
Yeah.
we were discussing before you came on. It looked like they currently look like somewhere, as you said, Tony Stark would drink, or maybe brew. Iron Man might walk in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had dubbed the word brewstillery, which I'd never heard of before. This new microbrewery and distillery that makes
And now I hate
spirits and whiskey.
And now I hate everything they stand for. Brewstillery is one of the worst brewing terms I've ever heard, and it's not a brewing term. It's
a brewstillery. It's the future. They get on board.
I'm not on board, and I like futuristic beers. I don't like the word brewstillery ever to be mentioned.
I would say from a design aesthetic, though, this is obviously a company that's been around for like 150 years. I think they've done it really tastefully for like their heritage, their craft, but like putting it into a modern world. So the kind of the Coopers logo is pretty. It's just this signature of Coopers, the family name, and so we have to look at it like when you zoom in, it looks quite old, like timey. But they've done it in a way that's really cool and really punchy with colour. So if you look through their beer range and through their website, it feels really modern actually, even though it's obviously talking about a brewery that's been around for 150 years. Big crops of the logo, of the word mark. Sorry, it's very cool. I think as a brand,
and a few primary colours.
Yeah.
In there, but also it looks a little bit Grolsch or Coca-Cola.
Oh,
a little bit.
I think
They're quite
they're
different,
like how they're
though.
using the word mark is quite Spencerian script kind of esque, which
That's
is the
probably the
Coca-Cola
word
script.
I'm searching for
Yeah.
and didn't know.
I know what you mean though, and that's where you're coming from, Grolsch as well, because it's the green with the white type of the script as well. So I totally get what you mean there.
I'm just scrolling through some of their beers, and I'm just looking at their seasonal beer. Have you guys ever heard of a botanic ale?
No, I haven't. Tell me more.
Yes, Botanic. So Cooper's Botanic Ale
Botanic.
is a limited edition beer and stock in some of our stores. It's now low or sold out. We highly recommend. I know that's just saying it's hard to get.
Tell me
I'm
more.
just right there.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. There we go.
Unexpected twist on our classic sparkling ale, Rich. Tell me more about that.
Oh, wait there. I'm just loading.
Oh my word, Richard.
A sparkling ale. The limited edition beer showcases Cooper's expertise in top fermentation and natural can conditioning. With a rich golden colour and cloudy appearance, our Botanic Ale features fruity and floral hop aromas, I get that, enhanced by appealing pine and peppery notes from an infusion of juniper. Dry hopping provides orange peel notes, balance, and a crisp finishing bitterness. What ABV do you think this is? Because in my eyes, it feels like it should be quite low.
Yeah, that's what I potentially. Although when you talk about juniper and a botanic,
I know juniper threw me a bit up there actually.
Well, that strikes me as if someone comes and says, "I'm a gin drinker. What beer have you got for me?"
Yeah.
Well, here you go. But then I'm thinking if it's meant to be the equivalent of gin, maybe it's a slightly higher percentage.
But it's 5.8%. And just the can design's very light and flowery. The description, the name, all comes across.
Yeah, almost looks like a can of Rio. That actually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know where? The more I look at this now, this design and how they've done it, it's reminding me a lot of Brooklyn Brewery.
Yes.
Right, because it's got that like roundel, it's got the kind of the script in it. That keeps quite consistent, and everything around it changes. So it's got quite Brooklyn Brewery vibes of how they've done their branding, which I can get on board with. They're also doing very well.
I can really see that now you've said it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's a tried and tested way of doing beer branding. Why not do it?
And also, sorry, did we say Spencerian typeface?
That is the Coca-Cola script. That's what's it called. So this is just a script.
Okay.
If you like it, yeah, like a word mark, I'd say. So what they are very well known for, maybe not for like this new generation of how the brewery's coming across and looking all snazzy and innovative, but where they had have you ever heard of the do-it-yourself DIY beer?
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about that? So they actually are known in Australia for their Coopers DIY kits. So basically home brewing kits. And they've got a whole section, a whole different website that specifically caters to people who want to get involved in home brewing, basically. Ooh. So yeah, that's really, I guess, where they kind of really, most like other generations of Australians probably know Coopers for.
You don't see that very often. That's quite unique, isn't it?
I was just looking. You can get your own Mexican cerveza kit. I was like,
nice.
Oh, okay. Like that.
So,
very big.
Following on from, let's talk about the good stuff that this brewery does, which we like to talk about on this podcast. So they have set up a foundation in 2006, and it's raised over 7.47 million Australian dollars. Which has been awarded to worthy charities supporting more than 354 charitable projects across Australia.
Nice.
So certainly feel like they're giving back on a quite a large scale there.
Yeah.
Quite physically with money, through golf days and all the stuff that you would expect. Not kind of really edgy brewers, but more corporate brewers to be involved in.
Yeah, like it feels. I think I'm underestimating the size of Coopers. I'm not gonna lie, in my head, and how popular they are.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big number.
Go and have a look at their brewery, Regency Park, I think it's called, which I was just reading up on. And actually, they spent 40 million US Australian dollars on it. It's massive.
Oh wow!
And also they spent. So I know obviously time, value of money, and that sort of thing, and inflation. So $40 million back then wasn't. It isn't the same as it is now. But that was in. I think it officially opened end of 2001. So it's also kind of, as we know, probably not the time that I'm sure beer wasn't struggling as such. But hasn't quite gone through a bit of a renaissance of late, hasn't it? So spending that money at that time makes me think that they were in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I'm just looking. They've got. I'm just trying to find some of their news, but yeah, they just seem to be. They just seem to be bringing more and more products out all of the time as well. It doesn't feel like they're stopping or slowing down soon. They've got their core, but they're absolutely hammering everything else out as well.
Right, given they're a family-owned business, give me a guess of how many of their directors are Coopers. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Coopers. Sorry, there are 8 directors. How many of them are Coopers?
8.
Barbara nailed it. It is 6 out of the 8.
That was a genuine guess as well. I'm
okay.
on there at the moment. I was thinking like 75% before you said how many there were.
Yeah, so there's only... Oh, sorry, I should say... No, actually, you're wrong. It's 5. So there's 5 Coopers. There are 3 non-Coopers who are on the directors.
I told you I wasn't cheating.
I was just so willing to say, yes, you're
I'd
right.
have said that.
That's fairly impressive that it's still family-owned after, was it 150 years?
That's it.
Blimey.
That's it, exactly.
And only 3 people.
It's an American institution. Australian institution, I should say.
I'd be keen to
It's a
give it
lot
try.
of beer.
What was the crate that you managed to get? So I'm going back to the Majestic one.
It was the pale ale.
The pale with you. Yeah,
it was nice. It was good. It was good tasting. It's what you'd expect. As I was saying before in my kind of blurb about it, it's not like your normal pale ale.
Yes.
It's a bit more full bodied for it. It's kind of got a bit more kind of like maltiness, I'd say. So apparently the beer is a deep golden colour and pours with a generous level of foam. To unlock its full flavour potential, make sure you roll your can or bottle before pouring. No additives, no preservatives. So that's interesting.
So it's saying to roll the bottle. I've never heard that as a like, normally it's don't shake it. Don't do anything to that bottle, just chill it.
Yeah. And so it's got sediment in it.
Okay.
So it's a conditioned bottle in a keg or can. Traditional Coopers brewing method produces the trademark sediment that gives our ales a distinctive, fine, cloudy appearance. And yeah, absolutely it was. It had some sediment at the bottom of it. So yeah, it was quite an interesting experience across the board.
Nice. Like that.
Shall we do some numbers for Coopers?
Splendid.
So Coopers Brewery on Instagram have 38.7k followers.
Nice.
And they are not on Twitter or X, but they have a total of 113,000 reviews on Untappd, of which 76,000 of which are unique, which means the 76,000 people have taken the time to rate or acknowledge that they are drinking a Coopers, which is pretty
Fair
damn
play.
good. Yeah. And that was actually, that's not whole Coopers, that's just the pale ale.
Oh, wow.
itself.
That's fairly
Yeah,
impressive.
it's pretty damn good. Yeah. That is the majority of their things though. So yeah, all good. I think that's nice to be introduced to Coopers. When you dig, I was like, oh, quite a niche, quirky, Australian brewery. But then when you dig along the surface, they're actually an institution in Australia, aren't they? And clearly doing a lot of good things / big things and moving and shaking in the Australian beer scene.
Well done, everyone.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber.
And Simo.
goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter.
I'll try that podcast.com.
And watch us on YouTube.
goodbye now.